Time for business. Emmanuel Abajiriafe has all the details. Good evening to you, Emmanuel.
Hi, good evening, Izzy.
All right, what's coming up?
Well, coming up, ADB has finally reopened its initial public offering, which was suspended some time back for a couple of reasons. And the time for the raising or the time for the target to raise 380 million cedis is what people are wondering.
It's tight.
Yeah, it's very, very tight. Yeah. Just too tight.
All right, let's see how it goes.
All right, thank you. And ADB has finally reopened its initial public offering after several setbacks. According to a statement issued by the Ghana Stock Exchange, ADB is targeting 383 million cedis through the issue of about 144 million shares. The offer, which began on Thursday, is expected to end on December 5. ADB recently had to suspend a similar offering due to challenges with the pricing of its shares during the IPO. Speaking on Business Live on Joy News, research analyst from Gold Coast Fund Management, Bertha Tubiga, expressed doubt ADB could raise the amount given the short duration.
I was a bit surprised, or I was very surprised when I saw that ADB had reopened its initial public offering to enable it to list on the Ghana Stock Exchange. Why was I surprised? Because one, you look at the period in which this IPO is being opened, which is starting today, the 4th of November, and it closes on the 5th of December 2016 at 12 o'clock noon. This is too period to raise the amount that is recognizing the period to raise that amount. The second thing that I also want to raise concerns about is that one, looking at the initial IPO that was done previously, you know, we had so many issues coming up where shares which were supposed to be sold at 2.65 pesos were sold at 2 Ghana cedis per share. And at the end of it all, the IPO was not successful. They were not able to list, and the regulators said the money should be refunded, should be given back to investors, all those who wanted to be part of the IPO. Yep. Now, you're giving money back to investors, and there were so many questions that were raised about why you sold it at 2 cedis to some investors and sold it at 2.65 pesos to some investors. The major thing is that it's going to reduce investors' confidence, or it has already reduced investors' confidence in the share. Right. The investor confidence has gone down, and looking at the period and the time, it is not like investors have so much confidence in the equity that you want to raise over 300 million Ghana cedis within 1 week to be able to list on the stock market. And another side of it is that Access Bank IPO is ongoing. It has not even ended. It's ending tomorrow. And under normal circumstances, I think it's always better that when one IPO ends, then the other can continue. It's so obvious, but they have their own reasons. I cannot condemn their reasons, but it's so obvious that this is in a rush.
The Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, has expressed misgivings about the Petroleum Commission's move to prosecute individuals fronting for foreign companies in the oil and gas sector. ACEP says this is an exercise in futility. The executive director of the Africa Center for Energy Policy, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, in an interview with Joy Business, said the local content law as it stands now makes it impossible to avoid the situation.
Foreign companies are required by Ghana's local content law to partner their local counterparts in order to secure certain oil and gas contracts. However, some Ghanaians are said to be exploiting this for their personal gains by holding themselves out as owners or partners of some of these companies. The chief executive of the Petroleum Commission, Theophilus Ishri, has reiterated the Commission's warning to arrest perpetrators.
The whole idea of local content is to give opportunities to indigenes to be able to add value to whatever we're doing, create business opportunities for them, to create opportunities for developing skills, and by so doing, make also the nation develop capacity to deliver projects. So if that is being undermined and foreign companies are having proxies that pretend to be indigenous, then it undermines the process. So continually, this is a campaign that we're going on to make, because it's a lot of effort that we put in to ensure that local content becomes a reality, and therefore anything that undermines that process should be should be discouraged.
Don't you have any systems that are able to detect these acts and maybe avert them?
Well, we have a very rigorous process of registration, but you know, there are always laws around the world, but people try to go around it. But I think, let me make this point very clear. Under the LI 2204, it is an offense for a company to front. And you do that, there are clear sanctions in the LI that companies, under which the sanctions will be applied.
The Executive Director of the Africa Center for Energy Policy, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, however, says the current provisions in the local content law regarding ownership makes it virtually impossible to eliminate fronting activities in the sector.
Our own law, the local content law, provides in Regulation 4, Sub-Regulation 4, that for a petroleum license, at least 5% shall be held by an indigenous firm or Ghanaian. But for service companies, at least 10% stake shall be held by an indigenous firm or a Ghanaian. So if our minimum standard for licensing is 5%, then we are already creating room for foreign companies to get Ghanaians who will front for them in the name of holding 5%, because 5% is peanut to them. And so they will give you 5% for free. And then they have satisfied our local content regulation. At what point can the Petroleum Commission consider this fronting? Service company, we said the minimum is 10%. So if you have a foreign company which considers 10% peanut, they can give it to anybody.
Now, local printers say there has been a significant slowdown in election-related business this year relative to the previous election seasons. This they blame on a number of factors, including the general challenging economic situation, as well as the decision by some clients taking their large-scale contracts abroad. Emmanuel J. has more in this report.
I just decided to come to the hub of printing in the capital city, and that is Accra Newtown, and I find myself at NA Advertising Company Limited to ascertain what exactly it is like for them this election season. Is it business as usual or it's below expectation? As you can see behind me here, ongoing is the printing of some political party posters. You can see there that for the ruling NDC and that of the opposition NPP also been printed out. In election seasons, political actors spend on campaign items such as posters, t-shirts, as well as customized party paraphernalia like pens and handkerchiefs, among others. NA Advertising Company Limited does digital printing, and the general manager, Kenneth Jokoto, shed some light on their business in such political seasons.
Well, the size is A3, it costs 1 cedi 40 pesos. Times 2 of this, which is A2, which costs 2 cedi 80 pesos. And we have A4, which costs 70 pesos. So basically, that's what the size they normally do.
I can see that you are doing the printing for both NDC and MPP.
Yeah.
How did you secure such contracts?
You know, when you're canvassing for jobs, it's not easy because we are in this business. A lot of people are into it. So sometimes you need to have friends in the party before you can secure jobs.
So I take it that, I mean, once you are printing NDC and MPP, you have friends in both parties.
You need to. Sometimes we have clients who canvas for the jobs and they bring it printed for them.
Players of the print industry have over the years cashed in on such campaign spending. The operators, however, say the story is different this election year. The chief executive of Abacus Digital Media, Kojo Owari Ahinkra, explains they had high hopes this year, but have been dashed because of the general challenging economic environment.
A lot of the aspiring MPs and parties who want to do something look at the cost. And few friends I've contacted in both parties are saying that the funding this year is a bit difficult. So they have to find ways of cutting costs. So because we realize that posters and flyers and stuff like that, the inputs are a bit expensive. Paper is imported. Our inks are imported. And then energy is also a problem. When you are running your jobs and then light goes off, we have to use diesel and all that. So our costs have also gone up.
The local printers are also unhappy. Their clients now take the large-scale contracts outside the country to their disadvantage.
As you can see, this is the quantity we are printing. Compared to previous years, this is the worst season that we are having.
How exactly? How different?
Price-wise, it's the same. We have not changed our prices. But with the printing, it's bad because last 4 years, we could have printed maybe Transbama alone more than 20,000. Likewise, Akufo-Addo, yes.
But how much is this year's own?
This year is less. It's less.
They also cite the advent of social media as a major factor contributing to the relative slowdown in their business this election year.
So what do you give a cost for posters? And it's a lot. Maybe instead of printing 100,000 posters, they can cut it to about 30,000. That's about 30% drop. And then they'll find other ways of sending out their message just to cut down costs. You know, leading up to the election this year, both parties were very vigorous in their arguments and their proposals and their promises. And because of that, we thought that there will be a very vigorous campaign, and then we'll also get a rise in our business. So basically, we think that it has not really happened the way we expected.
So, unlike previous election seasons, this year has seen no business boom. This perhaps highlights the need for the firms to re-strategize in their operations.
And that's it for business. Thanks for watching. For more business news items, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. There's more ahead. Don't go away.